Hello, BookTube, and welcome back to another episode of Last Week in BookTube. This is where I give you a little bit of a précis on the viewing that I've done on BookTube in the last week. It's not meant at all to be comprehensive. I watch a lot of BookTube in a week, so there's lots and lots of great stuff that I saw, but I'm not including, and I'm sure there's lots and lots of great stuff that I didn't see. But I made a list just because you seem to like this. I certainly enjoy it, sort of a benchmark. I'm doing it on a Tuesday instead of a Monday because yesterday was a federal holiday and nobody felt like putting pants on. but today we'll do this for 7 September, and we'll start off with a couple of the trends that swept through BookTube in the last week. One was August wrap-ups. People realizing that they were almost out of real estate in the first week of September, so they'd better get off their behinds and do their August wrap-ups. Always great fun to do. I don't do anything like that on this channel because it'd be a long video, longer than usual. It'd be a lot of books. But I love watching that. And also we had a tag go viral. And not for the first time, nor the 5th time, nor the 15th time. The tag that went viral was created by Sean the Book Maniac. This is the Mookse and Gripes bucket list book tag, which Sean made on his channel in reference both to wretched work by James Joyce and also to a literary blog and podcast. And it went crazy. Everybody in the world has done it. So I thought I'd mention both those trends before we move on to specific videos. And we'll start off the specific videos with a team that I mentioned last week. In terms of vlogs, in terms of vee-logs, in terms of people filming a little installment of one day, then a little installment of the next day, then a little installment of another for a weekly vlog that is entirely posited on their ability to then stitch those segments together with editing software. I can't do that, so instead of giving you 15 minutes per day and stitching them together into 1 hour-long video, I give you 4 hour-long videos every day. I don't stitch them together. Wait, is that anywhere near the same? I don't know. But anyway, it's the same team as before. It's Out of This World Reader, I think this is his second vlog, and I don't know how you normal booktubers do this. I honestly don't. I don't understand how you can go back to school, go to college, take classes, have an active life, and also make booktube videos. My hat's off. And also a seasoned vet at vlogs, Sarah at the Bookish Knitter. I mentioned the same team last week, but they both did great vlogs again. I thought I would just point them out to you again. Then Alex, at what page are you on, did a video about books for softbois. 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 Looking back to the halcyon days of my innocence, I had no idea what a soft boy was when I saw the title of his video. And then I watched his video. I wouldn't care if he said these were books for rivet heads. It's always fun to listen to him talk about books. But then I went down a little bit of a rabbit hole about what softbois actually are. And now I finally have an accurate term for Mark Richardson. And of course, Olive, the mighty Olive, and a book Olive, the queen of our bardolatry, did a life update. She talks about a whole bunch of different things. It wasn't a dedicated video like she usually does. It's a discussion of a whole bunch of things, including her astronomical 25,000 subscriber count. And a whole bunch of plans that she has for her channel. And all of that was interesting, but naturally, being the old Bailey hack that I am, I fixated on the fact that that her local newspaper, a great old newspaper, the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, wants lots of work from her. I know that isn't a very booktubey reaction, but what can I say? Some reactions, some reflexes just don't go away, and that's one of them. So now, in addition to buying a print subscription to the Christian Science Monitor, and in addition to buying a print subscription to Big Canoe News in northern Georgia, you also have to buy a print subscription to the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Because there's going to be a lot of Olive in the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette doing book reviews for them. And as in all cases, I want to remind you, if you decide to subscribe to a print newspaper because of one person, be sure to let the newspaper know the person that prompted the decision. Be sure to let them know. I'm pretty sure that the Post-Gazette already knows the treasure they have in Olive, but it wouldn't hurt for them to know they're also getting subscriptions out of her. So, just a word. Also, needless to say, the same thing would be true with Big Canoe News in Northern Georgia. A beautiful, may I say, no offense to Olive or to her great town, but Big Canoe News in Northern Georgia is a print newspaper that comes out once a month and looks a whole lot better than both the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette and most other print newspapers, just in terms of a visual object. The production team at Big Canoe does a fantastic job. And the same thing is true there as is true with the Post-Gazette. If you subscribe to Big Canoe because of yours truly, I am their book section editor, feel free to let them know that specifically is the reason. But what else have we got here? Oh, Books of Blood did part 2 of a series that you really shouldn't miss. I'll link to part 1, and you can go to part 2 from there, of his favorite werewolf novels. Over the years, I've got this question many, many times, on BookTube and off, what my favorite werewolf novels are. And his list, naturally with any kind of list, you're not going to agree with it 100%, but it's fascinating. Just fascinating. Somebody who's done the reading, and that's the important thing. So I'll leave a link to his part 2, but be sure to check out part 1 as well. Gina Stanyer Books did a kind of a vlog where she takes us on a very relaxed reading day. It will make you just, as the YA books say, release the breath you didn't know you were holding. Then Britta Bohler did a video called Short and Sweet, where she recommends some of the fruits of her reading 30 books in 30 days, where she recommends some short books that are under 200 pages, books that can be read basically in one sitting or very quickly in one day, certainly. And it's great. It will give you lots of good recommendations, and I weaponized it into a tag, which you're all, if you're watching this video, trapped and obliged to do. And in Britta's video, she says, you do this, if you read the books, you make the rules. Which was true in her video, but once you move over to Steve territory, if you do the tag, Steve makes the rules. And I did make the rules, so you'll have to check out my tag to learn what they are. Oh, yes, of course, there's a BookTube event that I'm a part of. I'm one of the co-hosts of ShakeTember 2021. And all my other co-hosts got together for a Zoom chat about last week's play, Othello, that was terrific. Lots and lots of thought-provoking observations for you, whether you know Othello well or not, so I'll leave a link to that down below. David at the Poptimist, I know I'm hitting the greats here. You've got Britta, you've got David, you've got Olive. These are just about the best booktubers we have to offer. He did a great, energetic video on video adaptations of bookish original properties, whether it's network TV or cable TV or long miniseries on streaming services or movies. And it was incredibly enthusiastic and also sweeping in its ambit. So you will, I guarantee, no matter how much you keep your nose to the ground in terms of books coming out on film, you'll learn a few things in this thing, a few things you didn't know were being adapted. And he also gives his ideas of what would make great adaptations. Just total fun to watch. And then we'll finish up with 2 thought-provoking videos. You know, like the kind you get on this channel. Roz at Scallydandling About the Books reacted to a recent British court case in which a judge sentenced a young malefactor to read Jane Austen and Charles Dickens, as opposed to a more punitive sentence, presumably on the assumption that it would improve him, that it would improve his sense of empathy, and render him less likely to commit his original offense again. And Roz took that question and expanded it to ask you, does reading make us better people? This thing that we all have in common, no matter how our tastes differ, the thing we have in common is reading. Does it make you a better person? Fascinating video, just quintessential Roz in the way that it questions things and wonders about things. And Marc Nash, talk about, these are all A-list booktubers, he took that idea and ran with it, with a video of his called What is Fiction For? That was terrific. It was a perfect sort of contrapuntal response to what Roz says. No spoiler to say that Mark's initial answer to his own question, what is fiction for, is to entertain. And then he says, if it has to do that, and then beyond that, what can it do or not do? And if you've read his book, his most recent book, I have. I bought it through a friend. I bought a copy. I can attest to the fact that Mark, the practice is what he preaches. Entertainment first. You have to earn your keep. You have to earn your place in the hall before you can start playing anything on your lyre, and he does. So, and between the two of them, they sort of refine the question, and makes me wonder what you will think when you watch those videos. Do you think that reading has made you a better person? Have you ever seen anyone that it's made a better person of? Have you ever seen anyone that it's worsened? It's just an endlessly fascinating question. I don't think it has really definitive answers, but it's always wonderful when great booktubers bring up these kinds of questions. And there you have it. That is a very brief version of Last Week in BookTube for this week. Lots and lots of great stuff. I'll leave the links down below. If you didn't catch these things, then you should, because they're worth your time. Not to say that there's not plenty of other BookTube that's worth your time, and also plenty of other broader YouTube that might be worth your time. I sort of questioned, I asked in the last of these, the previous one of these, whether or not I should make it start with a broader Last Week in YouTube, or even Last Week in the News. And I had a lot of people passionately say, yes, you should. We value those outside of BookTube links. But I had a lot more people say no. It's called Last Week in BookTube. Just stick to BookTube. There's already more on BookTube than we can watch. Just stick to that. I sort of agree with that, but if you don't, if you vehemently think I should start at least with a couple of links to broader YouTube, I watch a lot of broader YouTube, then sound off, let me know, and I will try it out maybe next week and see. But in the meantime, that is Last Week in BookTube for this week. I'll leave all the links down below, and I'll see you soon. Thank you, BookTube.